We only have 5 slides left. We're almost done. So, phosphofructokinase, PFK, is an extremely important enzyme that controls the rate of glycolysis in citric acid cycle.
Wait,
What
how do
is
you say
it?
that word?
What?
How do you say that word?
Phosphofructokinase. So, phosphofructokinase, what does allosteric mean? What is an allosteric enzyme? Does anyone remember what an allosteric enzyme is?
It's a lovely question you answered.
So, allosteric, I'll go over it right now. Allosteric means something that controls the rate of reactions. Not just reactions, but metabolic processes in the body. So let's say you ate something, right? You ate something, but you're not performing any activity. Do you need that ATP immediately? No, you do not. So, phosphofructokinase is inhibited by ATP, but stimulated by AMP. It's basically AMP is a monophosphate. So how phosphofructokinase works is that if there's a lot of ATP present, it's going to stop the production of more ATP. Is this a negative or a positive feedback loop?
Negative.
Negative, right? It's a negative feedback loop because phosphofructokinase is like, okay, we have too much ATP. We don't need to produce anymore, right? And so it'll wait because phosphofructokinase is created in glycolysis, but it's like, we don't need to move on anymore. But let's say ATP runs out and then AMP, so it's like ADP, but it only has one phosphate. If there's a lot of AMP present, it's like, okay, we ran out of ATP, we have to produce more ATP. Does that make sense?
So it's like just like regulating.
It's a regulation. So allosteric enzymes regulate. They regulate metabolic activities, but phosphofructokinase specifically regulates the production of ATP. Yes?
Is AMP like one phosphate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's adenosine monophosphate, right? ADP is diphosphate, ATP is what? Triphosphate.
Is there
How long does the
AQP?
entire process take? Like from like glycolysis to like the like.
I don't necessarily know, but I know it's not very long.
Like is it like 1 minute?
It takes 2 months.
Yeah, it's like your body. Think about when you eat,
Yeah.
how fast you get energy from it.
Like
So,
a few minutes.
few minutes, right? It can be a little bit more, 10, 15, but usually, because again, digestive
'Cause he
system
does.
goes from your mouth to your stomach, and then nutrients
All my
are
teachers hate
absorbed
me.
in your small intestines that those specific glucoses or your fats or your proteins go to your cells to produce
Are
ATP.
small intestines squishy?
They are.
Your organs are all squishy.
Is it like a hot dog?
Right.
Is it like
I
this?
don't know. Actually, no. Hot dogs are made from like kind of like they're wrapped like in intestines.
Yeah, that's what
right?
I'm saying. Like, is it like a hot dog?
No, but it's only like the outer layer.
Or is it like slimy?
What's
I
slime?
have so many questions.
Do you want to eat intestines?
I want to know what a small intestine feels like.
Okay.
It feels like a stress ball.
Well, when
What
we
kind of
dissect
stress
stuff,
ball?
you can feel it.
Just like
I'm gonna be a surgeon just so I can see what a
Just so you
small
can-
intestine feels
Mm,
like.
Well,
Gotcha.
when we dissect the cat.
So, this is the big picture of cellular respiration, right? There are 2 different sides. There's aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic means what?
Oxygen.
With oxygen. Oxygen is present. Are you going to produce more ATP in aerobic or anaerobic? Aerobic, right? And so, aerobic respiration. This happens in the mitochondria. You go through pyruvate oxidation, citric acid cycle, ETC, and chemiosmosis.
Wait,
Right?
what part is this?
What?
Oh, is this the whole thing?
This is the whole thing.
Oh,
This is
okay.
just an overview of the entire thing. But energy, glycolysis is in both anaerobic and aerobic. But after glycolysis, if there's no oxygen, is it going to move inside of the mitochondria? No.
Wait, so there's sorry. There's 2 parts. There's the with oxygen and without oxygen.
Yeah. So aerobic is with oxygen. Anaerobic is without oxygen. This is fermentation. There's 2 different types of fermentation we talked about. Alcoholic and lactic acid fermentation, right? Alcoholic fermentation, yeast, that's why yeast rises, and alcohol is made, beer, wine. Any alcoholic beverage, because they get yeast cells or individual brewer yeast cells, they produce alcohol, right? That is a byproduct. What is a byproduct of lactic acid fermentation?
Lactic acid.
Lactic acid and what?
I thought it was.
Come on, pyruvate. Oh,
Nope.
AAD.
I don't know, man.
Wait, what was the question?
Byproduct
CO2.
of both lactic acid and alcoholic fermentation. Lactic acid.
Carbon
and what?
dioxide.
Carbon dioxide, right?
Dioxide.
And lactic acid is different because lactic acid can build up in your muscles, and that's what leads to cramps, right?
Did I miss that?
Not all the time, but most of the times it does.
Okay.
Why can't I shoot the
so,
lactic acid out of my fingers?
Glycolysis, fermentation, respiration.
Mhm.
Fermentation, anaerobic, aerobic.
No, fermentation, no matter what, is going to be anaerobic. Cellular respiration is aerobic.
Oh, duh, because it's with that. Okay, I
Yeah.
get it.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it gonna specify on the test whether, like, are there gonna be any questions that are specific to whether it's with oxygen or without oxygen?
Yeah, I'll let you know if it's aerobic or anaerobic, like what process it's going to go through. So, I'm not going to go through all of this. This is just a generalized overview, but I will go over the specifics. So, let's review time. Sound good? So, glucose itself, let's say we're going down the carbohydrate cellular respiration pathway. Glucose, you start off with one glucose molecule. Through glycolysis, it's going to split up into 2 pyruvate, 2 ATP, and 2 NADH. Why is NADH so important again?
It's the transport.
The electron carrier, right? It brings over the electrons over to the electron transport chain to pump out those positive hydrogen protons so that chemiosmosis can occur. Now, citric acid cycle, there's 2 different ones. There is pyruvate oxidation in citric acid cycle. 2 pyruvates will be converted into 2 acetyl-CoA, and then it's going to go all the way around and continue to get oxidized to make what? 2 ATP, 8 NADH, 2 FADH2, and 6 CO2. How many NADHs are going to go to the electron transport chain? Total. 10. Right? You
Oh,
have
that's
8
bullshit.
NADHs from citric acid cycle and oh, now you're putting out dead. So citric acid cycle and pyruvate oxidation, and 2 NADHs from glycolysis. How many ATP is produced even before it goes through oxidative phosphorylation? 4, right? So 4 is actually produced. Now oxidative phosphorylation has 2 different parts. The electron transport chain is what? NADH donates those electrons. Positive hydrogen protons are going to get pumped to the other side because it creates an electrochemical gradient. Blah, 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 blah. And then they're going to go through a what? Chemiosmosis, where the positive hydrogen protons go through an ATP synthase, take an ADP with an extra phosphate, slap it together to make ATP. So, also, this is important to know too, the electrons. Where do the electrons go after the ETC? They get picked up by oxygen, and then 2 positive hydrogen protons join up together to make what?
Fantastic.
Water.
Water.
How does everyone feel? What is the total net gain of ATP by the end of this process?
30 something.
32, anywhere between 30 and 36. But the majority is created in what? Oxidative phosphorylation, when those positive hydrogen protons move through the ATP.
Wait, are there a different amount of ATPs produced when there's oxygen and there's no oxygen?
Yeah, so when there is oxygen, it goes through cellular respiration, but when there's no oxygen, fermentation only goes through glycolysis. And how many ATP does glycolysis go through? 2. It only produces 2, right?
So it's slowly like building and building and building and building.
Yeah, it's literally building up NADHs and FADHs too to create an electrical chemical gradient for ATP synthase
And
for
it's all happening like
Super fast,
Okay.
almost instantly.
okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I understand.
I know this is one of the harder sections in all of AP biology, just all of biology in general, but how does everyone feel? Feel okay?
It's like not terrible. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could make us memorize every step of the Krebs cycle.
You want me to go through every single step of the
I think we
Krebs
should.
cycle?
Just for fun.
I'd actually rather not if it's not needed.
Yes.
Because I could also go through every step of the electron transport chain too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's do
that.
let's do Krebs cycle first.
Let's do electron transport chain.
Because Krebs cycle happens
First is
first.
glycolysis, then it's the Krebs cycle, then it's
No, it's not necessarily the Krebs cycle next, it's pyruvate oxidation. But that's like kind of a part of
so
citric acid
pyruvate
cycle.
oxidation and then
Yeah.
Krebs cycle and then
So basically all that happens in this, I'm not going to go through every single step, but what I am going to go over is that acetyl-CoA will continue to get oxidized. What does oxidized mean?
It will lose electrons.
Loses electrons, so who's going to pick up those electrons? NAD plus, so it can become what? NADH. That's why so much NADHs are produced as well. So that's like the main takeaway from the citric acid cycle. How does everyone feel?
I wanted you to go through all of it.
Pretty A-okay.
Pretty A-okay?
Yes.
we just go to
And I recorded all these lectures.
I feel like that's a
Photosynthesis is harder.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not enough.
I think we should study every step of translation.
Oh, that's a fun stuff, huh?
I think we should just do the worksheet and like show the rest.
Also, can I be honest? Photosynthesis may be worse, everybody. Let me show
That's
you
what
a
I was
preview
saying.
next week.
Because with this, at least you can talk about your body, but you're not a plant. You don't know what's going on.
Over the course of like 4 years.
It looks so sad.
I mean, this is what actual photosynthesis is.
Oh, miss, are we done with cellular respiration?
Yes, but I'm just giving you a preview of what to look forward to. in
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Hearn.